you check the children. Your little match
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Long days and pleasant nights. I'm Jaime and Fuego.
And I'm Davey Deathray.
Since you did your intro, now Davey's doesn't have an intro. All right, so
Wasn't trying to do that.
guys, we are here to discuss the 4th episode of It. Welcome to Derry. Now, if you missed it, we of course, as Davey has done every episode, we missed the second one because of the weird timing of it. And the fact that I was sick, quite frankly.
Hello,
But yeah, we're doing regular watch-alongs of every episode. So there have technically been 4 watch-alongs, and there will be 4 more. So if you're interested, tune in, and you can pull it up on your end, and we can all watch together like we're all sitting on one big-ass couch across the country.
Yeah.
And, it's a good time. But then we come over here and we record our more in-depth thoughts post-episode, talking about all the spoilery details and all that good stuff. So that's what we're here to do today. And I have a feeling that this is going to be a bit more of a positive discussion than we've tended to get thus far, except for maybe the first episode,
Yeah,
right?
we had our low point last week, I think it's safe to say.
Well, I hope
Yeah.
so. I hope that was the
Well,
low point.
Fingers firmly crossed.
Because, damn, if there's more of that coming, then woof.
Don't say.
But yeah, so in my opinion, this episode, I quite enjoyed it. It had the lowest scare value, the least amount of scare time devoted to it, but it might be the strongest episode just because I feel like all the storytelling in it was really good. I enjoyed all the acting. I know you guys bumped into the acting of one of the kids, but I did not bump into his acting personally, except for a couple tiny moments. But overall, I feel like everyone's doing a really good job. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this episode, but mostly because of the origin story we got at the end. The deeper dive into when Pennywise first arrived, and talking about all the Native Americans that were the first to encounter the creature. Which, by the way, since again we're talking spoilers, I liked the Penny Moose. I thought that was fucking sick as hell.
Moosey Wise.
Moosey Wise. Yeah, that's better. Thank you. I liked Moosey Wise a lot. It looked evil, and now I think it's pretty clear that Kevin Smith could get away with Moose Jaws.
Yeah, why
you know
not?
what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
that's that. You make it
freaking
menacing,
goring people,
if you make it menacing, like a menacing moose, like Moose Sing. I don't know. Does that work? That doesn't work.
Sure, why not?
But
Well, they just did the twisted fairy tale thing with Bambi, right?
Right,
So,
yeah.
Reckoning.
it's just a little bit different than that.
It looked good too.
That wasn't a
from what
terrible
I understand,
movie. I mean,
the effects
yeah,
of
it wasn't
Bambi
bad.
actually looked good. But anyway,
Better than the
so
Winnie the
I
Pooh.
quite enjoyed this episode, long and short.
Yeah, same, man. I mean, once again, as you mentioned, not the highest as far as scare contingent goes, but this is the first time, because I enjoyed some of the lore building in the last couple of episodes when they were starting to kind of give you the indication. Now they're laying down their cards, but more so than anything, I feel like in this episode, despite all of the set, our A story, our B story, our kid story, the Hanlon wife story, all these different subplots and stuff, I felt like this time they actually were able to balance them all relatively well, move each of them separately forward to some degree, do it coherently and not making it feel too overstuffed. I felt like there was a very nice balance, amongst all of these little, disparate sort of narratives that are going down, concurrently, and I was impressed, especially with the whole backstory, which is, I mean, they're playing in Stephen King's sandbox. This is them not contradicting stuff from the book necessarily, but filling in what seems almost, plausible, believable as far as the whole Kingverse goes, and so I was definitely happy with it. I'm not going to be a constant reader nitpicking. They're trying to forge their own way, change this and that. No, I was definitely into what they were doing, because it feels like it makes sense within the predetermined skeletal structure of Derry and the lore that had been laid out in the book already. So, how about you, Davey?
Yeah, this is, you said it, Fuego. It's balance. I think that's the key thing for this episode. I think it's the most well-rounded episode that we've gotten so far. And I think it's, to me, it's the best episode that we've seen, even though, you know, I did like the finale of the pilot episode and everything like that. But this one, yeah, the way they bounced from, you know, almost like vignette to vignette, like the little bits of our stories that are all starting to intertwine. You know, we're back to everything going on with the, you know, the projectionist that's accused of killing the kids from the first episode. So they've weaved that back in. It's weaved into the Hanlon storyline. Hanlon and Howerin are even more, getting more intertwined as well. We had another really great moment with those two guys that I'm sure we'll talk about later. And yeah, this one just, I mean, I'll keep my 2 cents on it just short and sweet. I think it was the best episode so far. It was, this is the kind of writing that more TV shows need to have and need to have more consistently, because it kept me, a TV show hater kind of at this point. It kept me like wanting to see more, and the episode flew by. It was an hour and 2 minutes, and it was
I
it
didn't
was a
even
breeze.
notice the runtime whatsoever. I was just that locked in with, you know, all of the different and, you know, advancement of all of these, you know, separate little slots and whatnot. So
Yeah, and I'll say, you know, the little things I have to say about the other stuff. I'll just wait until we get there. But yeah, I really dug this one. Saved the season for me. So, well, I guess we'll see until next week. But I was worried about this one, and it really brought me back.
It made you hang on a little longer. I envision it being a bus of sorts, and like you are just on the ladder on the side, and every episode has made you get a little lower on the ladder, a little lower on the ladder, a little ready to jump off, and now you're like, okay, I'll come back a little bit, but you know. Okay, let's get into it a little bit more then. So I don't remember the sequence of events terribly, so I'll just talk about, you know, what comes to my mind first. If I recall correctly, the first thing we see are the kids taking their photos to the cops. And
we all
and
knew
showing
what was going to
them.
happen.
Yeah,
with that.
well, yeah, of course. And so when they show the photos, there's nothing actually there. Which even like I think it would be cooler. I think it would have been cool because they show the photos and then there's nothing in the photos.
There's the one Pennywise.
The one Pennywise shot is there, but everything else is gone. Yeah. I think it would have been cooler if the photos were as the kids saw them, but the adults just didn't see the weird shit in the photos.
Yeah.
You know, I think that would have been more in line with what we've gotten in the past.
Yeah.
However,
because
I understand
in actuality, the cops showed them the photos, and they had changed, at least to the kids'
That's
perception.
what I'm saying. Yeah, the kids should still see them. You know,
I think so too. I think they should have gone that route, and the kids could be like, "How are you
not seeing
this?"
it?" Yeah, like for real. Yeah. Like just address that head on. So that's a missed opportunity, but I mean, still a cool
They kind
scene.
of did it with arguing about the silhouette bit, but aside from that,
a little bit. So yeah, that's and again, that's another. I guess technically, if that dad bursts out there with the bat looking for Pennywise could still be standing right there, and the dad wouldn't see it.
Yeah.
Like so that could be creepy too. If like you just if you're following the dad as he storms out and he storms past the tree and Pennywise is just standing by the tree just watching him storm past, like that would be unnerving as fuck too. You know what I mean? But anyway, so it's the whole disappeared thing. So, I jumped way ahead on that. So yeah, that first scene with the cops was interesting, and then where do we go from there? Back to the school or something?
Trying to remember.
Or do we get again? We don't have to go completely sequentially. We can just talk about what we want to talk about.
We get the moment where the Hanlons sit down for dinner, you know, or the mom found him like hiding something in his bedroom, and they have a heart-to-heart. He doesn't want to tell his dad that they were in the cemetery, but he confides in his mom, and she's like, "Okay, this one time you can just tell me, because your dad is gonna give you a whooping." You know, just kind of insinuates that. And then they have dinner together, and you know, she sort of like tips off the dad as to like, you know, you've been really busy at work, you haven't spent much time with, you know, our boy, and so they go out fishing, and that's where we get the first
scare of the episode.
Yeah, that's where we get that scare, and then I think, you know, it's. Yeah, so they're out there fishing, talking about the girlfriend, the quote-unquote girlfriend. A really sweet moment, I think, between father and son. Really natural.
Agreed.
I really dug that moment. Not too jazzed on the kids acting, like, overall. It's not like every time it's stilted. It seems like he's really trying to pronounce all of his words very clearly, and so it comes off as a little, like, staccato, the performance. But not every single moment. Really sweet moment there, and then we can see Howerin and his guys
Yep.
setting
Getting the
up
black
their
spot going. Yeah.
yeah, their cool little clubhouse. I'm jealous of the clubhouse.
Yeah.
I'm like, real actual bars aren't
Let
this
me
fun.
tell you, don't be jealous of that clubhouse.
Well, for now, I'm just saying.
Well,
And then-
it was very. I mean, obviously not really, because when they would have had to shoot this and everything, but it is very Sinners coded, considering Sinners was setting up a whole juke joint, and these guys are
Yeah.
kind of setting up their own little juke joint for themselves.
Well, as much as I loved Sinners, it took cues from a lot of different things we've seen before.
I'm just saying,
so.
it's fresh in the mind, and so I was
Yeah.
remembering it as we were watching that. Yeah.
And these guys, I mean, they're really. I think a little bit of a different thing here is these guys are. They don't feel like they're really being excluded or pushed out. Like they are pumped to have their own spot.
Yeah.
You know,
And
they're like
off
this
base
is.
too, no less. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, because we know Howerin, like we're getting his fringe benefits. You know, it's a cool little scene that they've got there. And then, I mean, I don't need to go through the whole story if you're picking up on it. Cecil,
Yeah,
you wanna
again, we
take
can.
over.
Well, I mean, we can just talk about the things we want to talk about.
Yeah, and then the whole centerpiece scare brought back Lily's friend from the first episode, who had kind of clicked off with the more popular girls, and so I thought that was an effective scene of just how backstabby and mean-spirited, even at an age like this, these girls can be to each other,
Sure.
even in a decade like this. You know.
Well, again, this is very Carrie coded, another
Yes, big time.
Stephen King property. So, all that happens, and it leads to the second scare.
I guess it's like the
bit.
centerpiece scare of the episode.
It is, yeah. And to me, it wasn't as effective as they wanted it to be, but basically the kids are all watching, on a projector, the teacher's playing a film about snails. Well, technically it's a film about parasitic flatworms that infect snails, and then they force the snail's eyes to bulge out, and they're multicolored, so it attracts birds to come and eat them, which then allows the parasite eggs to spread via the bird poop eventually. So they watch this film, and then when they're alone in the bathroom, the girl with glasses, who is basically setting up Marge. Setting Marge is the girl with glasses.
Setting up Lily.
Marge is
Setting
the girl
up
with
Lily.
glasses.
Thank you.
Lily
Setting
is
up
the
Lily.
girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while Lily is not peeing in the stall right next to her,
She's just hovering over the toilet.
it's hard. It's just a funny thing. Like, it didn't occur to me, but she goes in there to pee, and then there's no noise, but it's like, do you really want to hear a 13-year-old piss stream?
Well, it's funny because
but-
she says she's going to do it, and you just never really hear that in visual media. You don't hear somebody say, "Oh, I'm so excited, but I'm going to go pee first."
But I'll be honest with you, there's been plenty of movies in the past where female characters, obviously they wouldn't do this, and I'm not saying I want them to do this, where the female character pulls the panties down from the side and sits down, and they add the pee stream sound.
You see,
and it's very slice of life, so they technically could have had the pee stream sound, and it's like, oh, she's human.
You see,
that's as far as it would have gone, but still.
What I thought Lily
I understand
was,
the choice.
Yeah. What I thought Lily was doing actually was she didn't believe Marge, and so she was just going to kind of hide out for a moment or stall the process because she had kind of sniffed out what Marge was going to do
fair.
to her. So that was
Could
at
be.
least my initial suspicion. But then
I don't know.
Marge goes nuts and bulging eyes and all of that jazz.
So Marge's eyes bulge out of her face, which the first shot of it happening was cool, like the dead-on shot when they literally bulge out of her face, and then from
and
there
also
when she's
seeing her
running with
perception,
them,
I thought was cool.
yeah, the altered visual perception. They did the POV of it, which was kind of interesting, but because it was so CG, they weren't able to commit. A couple times she reaches to grab them, but she's grabbing nothing, right? So because it doesn't look quite right. Like, she goes to grab and they have to cut away before she actually does, because it's like, oh well, the grab didn't look great, so let's cut around it. So it just presents problems where a practical effect wouldn't present those problems, except for the fact that you have to be very clear about where your actress is running, because she's not going to be able to see with those prosthetics over her eyes. But still, eventually she gets to the wood shop area, and we're like, oh boy, here we go.
We're just like,
And eventually she makes it to a sawzall. I think it's a sawzall. I don't know what the hell they
table
call
saw
those
is what I called it.
things. Table saw.
But,
Well, table saw is the the circular one. That
Oh
you
yeah,
like
good
that.
call.
So
Good call.
that's why I think it's
I'm
but a
wrong.
sawzall I think might just be the one that has the I don't know. It's a big saw with on a table, so it might be a version of a table. Who the fuck knows? Who cares? You guys.
I think
know
this
what
is the
we're
most
saying.
compelling part of the review is talking about the pee
Debates
and then
about
going from
wood
the
shop saws.
yes, the pee talk to shop talk.
A couple beta males over here talking about different saws. It's a joke. It's hitting on both of us, by the way.
I know nothing either about
Okay,
it.
so yeah, the three of them. But still, so yeah, she goes over and turns it on and basically cuts her snail eyes off, but at the same time, Lily shows up and goes to try and help her, and the girl, like, after cutting her eyes off, she grabs a little
She had
putty
actually
knife or
done
whatever
it
the hell
before,
it
I
is.
thought. I thought
Yeah,
had
she did it
stabbed
right
in
before.
her first, and then she.
Yeah.
Oh,
cut
and
it.
then she cut. But
Yeah.
then she tried to do it again. Like afterwards, she tried to gouge out the rest.
And that's when Lily stopped.
And that's
her.
when Lily stops her and like holds onto it, and then of course everyone comes in just as Lily's like, ah! Like
Yeah.
in Norman Bates positioning.
Yep, and it's like, you're going back to Juniper Hill, girl.
Yeah.
Which who cares? She'll be out by next week.
Yeah.
Like according
With
to
no
the show,
explanation.
And
with
it'll
no
be none
explanation.
the wiser. It's just, okay,
Yeah,
you're
if that,
fine.
if that.
Well,
she
and that
was-
scene,
Sorry.
that scene sort of leans into one of the things we sort of skipped over, but it's no big deal because we're talking
We can
everything.
jump around.
Jump.
Yeah.
That scene, because all the kids rush in and see this horrific thing, not long before that scene happened, we had all the kids sitting in like a round table discussion, talking about the Hanlon kid is basically talking about his experience, and then they all sort of come to the realization of maybe this thing is like just it's not trying to kill us right now, it's trying to make us fearful.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of like, I think then, all the kids rushing in and seeing Marge on the ground and Lily above her, just this frightening thing. Now there's, possibly even more kids that, are going to have some fear in them. And it's going to get Pennywise all juicy.
Well, and I also like I appreciated the metaphor of the flatworms being Pennywise because when he possesses people, he does operate them like a parasite
Yeah.
would, So I thought that was kind of a cool little undertone to all of that. We didn't touch on, but I did want to touch on this, the fact that early in the episode, Dick Halloran is clearly still affected, and he's actually now seeing visions of versions of Pennywise as well, which to me was one of the most interesting aspects of the show, because that immediately to me said that all of a sudden the kids are going to be able to have an adult ally that can see what they can see. Normally no adults in Derry can see anything, or even outside of just sort of ignoring it, turning a blind eye.
Yeah, oblivious.
Yeah, that they don't concern themselves with it, but now they'll actually have an adult that they could get help from. I hope they go that direction, because it feels like a missed opportunity if they don't.
Different turn of the wheel,
but-
right? So
Yeah, I mean, we'll make
see.
again. I like bringing Dick in.
Yeah, you do.
Hey-o.
Always.
Ring a ding ding.
Cut that from the episode. There you go.
No, make a short out of that. Just make a short out of that.
Sample.
I like bringing Dick in, and that's it. That's the short.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
like bringing Dick in.
that's like from the late '90s teen comedy. Someone would sample that and like edit it up and send it to
Yeah.
the whole school the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then even the little brother would have it, and he'd be playing it on his
Yeah,
little
yeah,
phone
yeah.
or something.
You
Scotty
didn't see
doesn't
this?
know. Scotty doesn't know.
Yeah. It writes itself. But yeah, I really appreciated that. I really dig
Yeah.
that Dick's strength can also be a weakness that I hadn't really considered before. When you actually consider what it can do.
Yeah, it's
The
like
fact
walking
that
around with
he's
a
now
bullseye
on
on
its
his head.
radar.
Yeah.
Because again, that's why I love that moment from episode 3. As bad as episode 3 was, I love that moment where you see the Pennywise eyes from the darkness of the stage thing that he was dancing on in the movie, and he says, "Who are you?" And
Yeah.
it's like, so now he acknowledged, like, it's the first adult that's ever perceived him. And so I
There's-
think
well,
that's such an interesting dynamic
Yeah.
for them to explore, and I really hope they do. And as of this episode, again, you can only do so much. You have to build that. So this feels like
Yeah.
the next natural step for them to build that, which I love.
Yeah, and it made me think that when he has that like flash of all those visions and everything, I'm like, are they close to one of these shards? Is it like the closer he gets to one of these things, is the black spot near one of those things? Because when he was having his hallucination up in the plane in the previous episode, and he's about to walk out, they must have been close to one then too. So there are these almost like moments where he can't control the shine or you know, or whatever, if it's something else. I'm guessing it's the shine that allows him to perceive that. So it is, I'm sort of like, that was my first thought when he had that flash. I'm like, oh, are they near the thing that they've been looking for?
Wouldn't it be interesting to retrofit this to the lore that you're aware of, Fuego, where it's like every one of the big events is like Pennywise waking up and trying to leave Derry. Like maybe something's changed and he can now leave, and so he hits the thing and he realizes the barrier's still there, so he throws a tantrum. And every time he wakes up, he tries a different one. So, like, the black spot is right near one of them, and he throws the tantrum and burns down the black spot. The ironworks is near a different one, and so it destroys the ironworks.
Yeah,
Like, that'd be kind of interesting.
Nebolt's obviously one too, as they give us clear indication at the very end. But yeah, it's Halloran had an interesting little turn though when he jumped in the head of the Native American dude.
Yeah.
Where he was trying to like get some information, and it made me almost wonder if he was given like in that moment when the smile started to form.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if the Pennywise entity, if they took him over because they were actually using him puppetry status in his head to get information about where all the boundaries, so
feel
that
like
then
that's
maybe
fair.
I can escape if I know where all of the different boundary stones are. Just
Well,
a
I feel
theory.
like Pennywise. Yeah, I feel like Pennywise knows about the shards, but he doesn't
knows
know
about being
where they
trapped.
are.
Yeah, knows about being
so-
trapped,
Yeah.
and so that's why taking over Halloran in the native dude's head, and trying to figure out where all of those pillars, where those buried stones are, so that okay, if I know where the perimeter is, then maybe I know how I can get out of it.
I think that makes sense, and I think because of that specifically, I think we're going to get
Because
at
Dick
least
got
one
really
scene.
forceful and almost out of character. Yep, that's me interrupting.
I think we're going to get at least one scene where Pennywise and Halloran will talk to each other in that dark realm that he was in, where all the doors are and stuff. Like, I think everything else will fall away, and maybe one door will be left, like in this one, and then the door will open, and it'll be Pennywise, and they'll be
Yeah.
like, "Why could you see me?" Something like that. Like, I'm again, this is fan storying,
Yeah.
but it excites me that this is what I'm feeling about the show now.
Suddenly, yeah.
Like that
Yeah,
I
there's
really
questions.
want to know where we're going now. Like I'm way more. Episode 2 was good at setting up. Oh, okay, these are our key players. This is the general, arrow direction we're headed. Now they've got me bought in on like now I really want to know where we're going and how all this is going to factor in. So, yeah, I think this was an especially effective episode on that front.
It just makes me wonder if it's going to be an Arrowhead Project sort of situation like in The Mist, where the government in Maine, the military is messing around. They know that there is like a inherent power in this particular spot. In The Mist, obviously, they open a vortex like, Stranger Things style shit, and that's how all
Yeah,
these
straight to
creatures
hell,
come through.
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're obviously aware that there's power there. How are they intending to harness it is what I'm curious about. What sort of nefarious purposes potentially? I mean, I don't know. That's what's interesting. But I still, just back to what I interrupted Cecil about, I feel like Halloran, when he was in the head of the native dude talking to his child version, he seemed to be acting out of character with the smile,
No,
with
I
how
agree with you.
forceful he was getting
I
with
agree
the
with
kid
you.
and everything.
No, I think
trying
he
to
was taken over
extract
slightly.
information. Yeah.
But I think that's what's interesting. I think he's susceptible to Pennywise in a way that he's never had to deal with before.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting. Again, that's an
It's almost
interesting
like the
C
worm
plot.
has gotten into him, the little parasitic
There you go,
worm. And
yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one there.
Actually, there
Well,
you go. That might be the more
Yeah.
apt thing that they were going for.
So Pennywise isn't
It's
just
the-
aware of him; he's like infected him almost.
A little bit already.
Yeah. Yeah, they did like the literal metaphor, and then they're sneaking in something with Howerin. And I really liked how, to talk about the native stuff a little bit. First off, Howerin has a tough time getting into this guy's head, which doesn't seem to be like a thing that Howerin really ever deals with. So, and there's something I think there is something going on with the natives where they are less susceptible to these superpowers. There's something about being from the land, or however they explain it. I kind of like that they haven't, because even the I think it's his aunt, the native woman that's been in the show, right? Because she seems like when Mrs. Halloran's or Mrs. Hanlon is talking to her about Derry, I can't remember her name, the older native woman. She's just basically like, Derry's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let you know. But she doesn't seem as affected by it. And then when they jump back into that lore, we see this really cool, kind of like little hero's journey, like a little, like we see the whole crashing of the meteor and everything, and the creating of taking one piece of the shard to make the dagger. And we see the friggin' Pennywinkle or Moosey Wise or whatever you want to call him. Pennywinkle, that's my name for him. Which was some really good effects, and then they tie that into when the colonists came over, which must be sometime in the 1600s, late 1500s or whatever, and how that sort of broke the cage open. They found a way to coexist with Pennywise or whatever it was at that point, just by staying out of its way. But the white people come in, changes the whole game, and they've got to basically go down and hunt this thing. And that's what leads to them, taking all the pieces of the meteor, and creating that perimeter there. So I think there is going to be something where we're going to get a really nice. I grew up in Southeast Alaska. I've got the tiniest little bit of Cherokee in me, like a lot of white people. But growing up in Southeast Alaska, it's there's really cool native lore. I mean, especially up there, it's a little bit different, but it's cool to see this worked organically into a story, which it seems like it is right now. I'm digging it.
I feel like maybe they've already thought of this, and maybe it's just something that hasn't been revealed, but she wears some jewelry, right? What if all the natives, specifically chip off little pieces of the shards and make necklaces out of them to ensure that Pennywise can never actually affect them?
That could be a thing.
Because, if it keeps him enclosed, then that means it's a barrier. So, if you kept one around your neck, he'd probably never be able to affect you.
Yeah.
So I like that this lore opens up so many possibilities for, deeper dives and deeper storytelling into it than King ever got to do in his 1100 or whatever the 900-page book.
It's around the cheesy, and it was also when he was still hopped up on blow and drinking and all this stuff.
No.
So that's why there's so much weird shit in that book, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I
bet you can't name one weird scene in that book.
Well, the fact that we're talking about it and that we're excited to be talking about it, I think says something about where they're going with everything. And Fuego, I think you're dead on about Arrowhead, because that's how they would, you would find, people would excavate and find arrowheads in the dirt, literal arrowheads from natives. And here that's what they're going to find when they dig up these turtle shells. And they're just going to call them that. So I think you're spot on about that, man. That's some good shit.
Well, I will say that was a weird choice, too, because it looked like at least one of the shards was put in a turtle shell, but a couple of them were buried without turtle shells. So I wonder why. And, is it just, the biggest piece had to have a turtle shell cover?
Maybe it was the first one.
I think it was the first one. I think it was the dagger.
It was the dagger.
The dagger.
Okay, good call.
So that one's actually been used.
Good game.
Yeah, that one's been yielded as a weapon. So yeah, I mean, gosh, I'm just excited that we're chit chatting about everything. We haven't even really talked about the direction or the music or the effects too.
The music is a
specifically.
good thing
But oh my gosh, yeah.
That's something that you mentioned about.
Yeah, let's transition to the music, because the score, I feel was really on point this time. I really noticed it more than in the other episodes, except in the first episode. They started with a similar kid singing thing that the two movies started with, which I love. Don't get me wrong, I do love that. But the score felt like it was the sister score to the movies, and they were particularly effective. Like, it's funny. Part of why I noticed how good it was is that's one of the biggest gripes with Deathstalker. The incongruousness of music to what they're showing on screen.
Well, you had
That was the most full moon, non-full moon movie I've ever seen in my life.
I liked the power metal stuff that they did, but then they would switch to these bits of whimsy that were just
It was just awful. So the point I bring that up is that was the other side of the coin, whereas this side, all the music really lent itself to the scenes at hand and helped to enhance them in a way where I noticed the score, but only because it was making things even more intense for me. So yeah, I really wanted to make note of the score here.
The score's excellent in this episode.
I'm like, yeah, agreed. I mean, there's.
I noticed it. Like you had brought it up first, Cecil, but as the episode went on, I was like, man, they're really the way they're using the score as sound design in some of those moments too. Like, I mean, maybe it is just the sound design, but there's something melodic, or at least there's some sort of melody and rhythm to it. So I felt like this was like the first time I've really noticed it as like a positive, as a standout. Something about this episode. I'm actually going through the credits right now because I'm trying to find out who the director was, because it's beautiful the way this episode
not
looks.
For this one, he did the first two, and he's taking a back seat for the time being. So.
And one thing I noticed here, just because we talked about it briefly, so they have regular casting people. They have one person that is specifically there to do indigenous casting. So I think that's pretty interesting. Angelique Midthunder. So that sounds like a native last name. That's pretty cool. I think that's cool when they do that kind of stuff. I know Sinners had that for, to take a look at Black culture and Irish. They had, multiple cultural consultants, which is a pretty cool thing to have.
Agreed.
I'm just looking for the director here, so don't mind me. Because it looked
Midthunder, same last name as the girl from Prey. Yeah,
oh yeah, I think that's a common native name. And this episode looked, I made a crack during the watch along about, like, did Oz Perkins direct this episode? Because
the one
it was
shot where
the blocking and the camera placement, like, this episode was creative in the way that it was shot. And to me, in addition to how well the story played out and everything like that, I found it extra or engaging on a totally different level because of the direction.
I quite enjoyed. Well, sorry guys, I was doing thumbnail stuff because I didn't want to forget the thought. What did you just say, so I can jump in on it and I'll cut this?
Oh, just that the directing engaged me on another level than the other episodes.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Davey, because what was fun is the directing. The job of the director really is to not only have the overall vision of the movie and what you want to see on camera, but the job of the director is to get the best performances out of the actors that they possibly can.
True.
And the solid direction in this episode was really the acting was emblematic of the directing quality in this film. Because there were so many good scenes that didn't have to involve Pennywise or scares or anything, that were so engaging, and that is oftentimes down to the directing and which is the quality of the acting enabled by the directing. So I think the directing was great. I think the actual eye, though, which is also obviously led by the director but assisted very much by the director of photography, I feel like all of that was really good too. It wasn't, I guess I could say it didn't feel as in your face trying to be like, ooh, look, as especially episode 3 was with the stupid ghosts in the graveyard, or even the Pickle Man kind of was.
in episode 2.
So yeah, I feel like they really had I will say that the Slug Eyes were that. They were more of that in your face kind of thing. But I feel like the water scare was not that. I feel like the water scare was more in line with
clownfish.
Was more in line with. Oh, you're right. That's what that fucking was. I didn't even put that together. I was looking for the fish to have like stripes like Pennywise's face. But no, you're right. It was just a clownfish. Yeah. So how did I fucking miss that? So stupid. Good call, Fuego.
I have mine.
But yeah, so I agree. I think that both the directing of the acting and the directing of the angles and everything was above board for sure.
Yeah, the direction of the actors in this especially. I mean, aside from the one moment with Will having some tears that I just didn't buy into, I thought the kids were solid. We had another just really terrific, and this ties in with the acting, which we haven't like completely touched on yet, but every very dialogue-heavy moment in this episode, and there's a good deal of them, whether it's the kids confronting, Chief Bowers at the beginning, or whether it's when Mama Hanlon basically goes and tries to play hardball 2 different times, actually. There's the first bit with Bowers, and then when she comes back and is like, yo, I'm going to get, MLK, RFK, all the Ks, and all the FKs or whatever.
Yeah.
But she really brought it even
And she
more
did say
so
RFK. I was like, wait. And then I was like, oh, wait, not
Yeah,
Junior.
Robert. Yeah. Yeah, another dearly departed. But yeah, man. I mean, I felt like the acting from whoever ended up directing it. I think it was a woman director.
I found it.
If I saw it at the very beginning.
I found it. It's Andrew Bernstein.
Okay.
So
Oh,
he
okay.
directed
I thought I
7
saw him.
episodes of Ozark. He's done The Nevers. He even did an episode of Castle Rock back in the day, and
Yeah,
a whole bunch
yeah,
of Fear the Walking Dead.
Mixed results.
Ozark
So
was
a lot
supposed
of-
to be good.
A lot of TV show stuff, but man, this had a cinematic look to it, in my
budget
opinion.
actually being put to good use, I would say.
Just some of the stuff that like there's one specific shot where a good use of rule of thirds and like kind of an obscured something out of focus in the foreground, not too dissimilar to some stuff that we saw in Keeper and stuff like that. So, and then even we had mentioned some of the CG moments from the last episode during that whole the Native American backstory and that hero's journey. Really good use of like CG in darker lighting.
Yep. So you can
And,
hide it.
Oh, I
better.
forgot about that moment.
Yeah.
And
Mr.
definitely a
Stretchman,
moment.
yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Stretchman looks pretty cool when the CG starts to happen. It was a cool little moment there. There's a little bit of running at the camera, but not.
Which you called out.
But yes, rightly so. But cut away before, like the way that we've seen that done in the previous 3 episodes has been a lot more. So I feel like Andrew Bernstein brought a little bit of, there was kind of like he was like reserved on some of that
some
stuff,
temperance
and
for sure. Yeah.
yeah, and it just worked better for me. And yeah, the same thing about the acting. I mean, the actress that plays Taylor Page, who plays Mrs. Hanlon, she's really good in this show. She's been one of my favorite performers in this show, and I don't know what I've seen her in. Oh, she's in Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. That's what I've seen her in. She's good, man.
Okay.
I knew I recognized her from something, and I'm like, I really like her. She brings, she elevates every scene she's in. Yeah, she's top notch. I'm not a
and I
simp,
also
okay?
like
I'm not a
Native American
simp.
Ink, too.
Relax.
Yeah.
She's getting better. I think she's getting better. She wasn't in, the little bits she was in some of the other episodes. I think her acting seemed a little stilted, but I think she's like really fitting in and a bigger part of the story now.
Yeah, feeling more comfortable. It seems like for sure.
To your point, actually, I think it's a good transition when you were talking about, the running at you, the elongated man scene. It did get to sort of, there are a lot of close screaming at the camera things, but I feel like the effects, like you were saying, the in the shadows, it looks, a lot better. And in particular, I think this look up close looked really good. I was like, ooh, that's because it was a pre-Pennywise look, and yet it still had the same, mouth full of rows of teeth like a nasty shark, except it looked kind of more like what if Jack the Ripper had Pennywise's mouth than anything else. And I was like, that looked scary as fuck, so I really liked the way that effect looked. So I wanted to transition into the actual effects of the episode.
Yeah, and even the Moosey wise didn't look too bad. Also, kind of
Looked
seen
good
in shadow a little bit, but when that's going around like goring fools and stuff, man, I mean, that's pretty intense. I definitely
All
liked
that. Yeah, all that gore was really good, and I'm guessing some of that stuff for like the bodies that looks practical. Like some of that stuff was really
the
really
aftermath
good
of
looking.
all the dead
Like
settlers and everything.
I'm like, you know what? I'm fine with that because I don't need all the gore like in my face like happening. So I think it's nice to have some dynamics. So seeing some of the aftermath, as long as we get it in some way, yeah, really good stuff there.
Yeah.
Post gore is always practical. It has to be.
Yeah.
So post
Yeah.
Carnage gore, this post Carnage gore was particularly good though because we hadn't gotten anything like it yet. It has
No.
mostly been digital gore, so seeing all like it was quite a bit. You
And
know,
that's
it, was,
why
it
even-
didn't last that long, but it was still quite a few different shots of it.
There, yeah,
So,
like the
yeah.
beheaded pilgrim woman holding onto her huge crucifix or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, her cross, and she's just like, I didn't see any head.
Yeah.
You know.
Lots
And
of
now
really
I'm
cool
thinking
stuff.
about it. It's funny the elongated guy. I'm like, he's straight up based off the Quaker Oats dude, isn't he? Like that is like
yeah.
the Quaker Oats dude. That is like straight up Pilgrim, right?
Or even the aftermath of Marge getting maimed, like the eye, like just
Yeah.
looking super gnarly after the whole class rushes in and stuff. I mean, that looked solid too. That was obviously practical once we got to that point, and the whole
Yeah.
like trip out sequence for her had ceased. So
The blood splatter looks practical because she's not in the shot. Like the actress is off camera, and it looks like they really did a blood splatter like on the one part of the saw, whatever saw it was. We never
yeah,
determined.
we never determined precisely.
It's probably just like a jigsaw, like an actual
yeah.
jigsaw.
We'll put it all over at the top of the screen there for you.
Yeah.
Correct us, poor fuck.
But yeah, this
Wait,
one
now I
think
got
this
work
one,
to do. God damn it!
I know. Yeah, this one I think the effects worked a lot better. We do get some of that weird stuff, but yeah, man, the Quaker guy, that was the best kind of use of digital effects, especially different kind of chest burster than we're used to seeing in that scene. That was a sort of what the fuck moment, but like
the
I
baby.
didn't hate it.
Yeah,
I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the hell it was going on, but I thought it looked cool.
A lot of evil children in this show, little like evil infants, I guess I could say.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was the Pennywise Quato.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all in all, this was a good episode. You
Yeah.
know, it's nice. It's nice to be able to say this. It's nice to have
Yes.
a spirited discussion afterwards
Sharp
rather than
improvement.
a deflated discussion
Yeah,
afterwards. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
The balloon is not popped yet, so
Yes.
I mean, we're all right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I think we'll go ahead and call this discussion here, you guys. Let us know what your thoughts on the episode were in the comments down below. Feel free to talk about all the spoilers the way we did. And as always right now, for at least the next 4 weeks, we'll be back here next Sunday doing our watch-along. We'll be doing watch-alongs of all the rest of the episodes, followed by reviews just like this one. So if you're joining us for that entire journey, thank you very much. If you're just hopping on, thank you as well. If you're just hopping off, thank you for giving it a try. So
Peace
so
out.
yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching, especially if you've watched all the way up to this point. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. Thank you to all of Davey Deathray's supporters. We appreciate all of you guys as well. And until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias, Jaime Fuego.
And I've been Davey Deathray.
And remember,
Stay
Stay scared.